when did you know it was becoming a success? And when did you start getting hit up by LeBron James and Tom Brady and Richard Branson, all these people wanting to just make cameos on this show?
So as you know how neurotic I am and how crazy I am, you know,
Kanye West was on this show.
He was that fucking jerk off. But anyway, as I said, we come out and I can tell you, just like in the show, if you remember the episode where Drama gets a good review or Vince from the New York Times, all I cared about at the time was the New York Times. Like 20 years ago, this meant everything, and it meant everything to my fucking parents.
Is that because you're from New York?
It meant everything to the whole world at the time. If you get a good review in the New York Times, you might get somewhere. And it's just, it was really like, you know, and for my parents, it was everything. And, you know, the movie Fat Beach, the New York Times said they don't even comprehend how this movie was put in a movie theater. And they were correct, by the way. So when we got the review in the New York Times, I think that was as close to as emotional as I've ever been. Oh, it said it was the smartest show on television, you know, and it said it. And it also said, which, you know how the culture's changed the last 20 years. It also said it's not even as close to as vulgar and racy as things like that were on network television, like Desperate Housewives, which it wasn't. It was pretty much, you know, there was some crude language, but at the end of the day, it was not nearly as vulgar as a lot of shit on. But so what happens is we get this review, which I think all HBO cares about is reviews anyway. But TiVo had just come out. So numbers had completely changed. So when I saw the ratings, which when I first saw the ratings, the show airs while we're in Vegas, shooting an episode in Vegas for season 2. So the first time I see the ratings, I see them, and we have like a whole crowd, we're filming, and I get this number, and I'm like, oh my God, we're fucking dead. This is like, they're gonna cancel us today. I get a call, hey, Chris Albrecht's calling, who's the head of HBO, the guy who put on the show, and I'm like, you know, this, and I'm like, I'm literally walking up from Vegas in my hotel room, and I'm like, waiting to say like, we're shutting down production, everything's over, and this and that. He's like, Doug, we got a monster. I'm like, a monster? What are you fucking stupid? Did you see the numbers? He goes, the numbers don't mean shit. Nobody watches things live anymore. They watch in groups. They do this, that. I'm like, great. He goes, we're going to go as long as you want to go. We're going to make as many episodes, as many seasons as you want to go. And this happens, and like straight out of Entourage, I go back down, and Jerry Ferrara plays Turtle in the show, has a scene. I am telling you, I have no idea if anyone's watched this show. Maybe 3 episodes have aired so far on HBO. And Jerry comes out to the pool at the Hard Rock Cafe, Hard Rock Hotel, which if you've ever been to that pool, this is the East Coast Mecca. It's Jersey, New York, whatever, a bunch of fucking meatheads in the pool and blah, blah, blah. And Jerry comes out and people fucking start screaming, Turtle. I don't know at this point that anybody's even watching this show. Turtle, Turtle. I'm like, is this a bit? And it was so surreal. And that was the first time I'm like, holy shit, we have something here. So that's 3 years after that HBO meeting.
What a great story and great answer to the question. And so you went 8 seasons. What was it like when it ended?
Oh, it was beyond emotional. But for me, you know, in the same way, like I always say, everybody's like, why don't you keep making shows and stuff? For me, and this has nothing to do with being a good show or a bad show, because there are some people who can work and make it a life balance. And I was not one of those people. I was obsessive with every single thing that happened, every syllable. And, you know, it cost me a marriage, and it was incredibly grueling, grinding work for me at a lot of times. There were amazing things about it. Obviously, I wouldn't take anything away from it. But there was part of me that was like, I can't keep doing this. Yeah. First of all, it's hard to keep coming up with stories for a bunch of guys that live together, which, you know, everyone always used to ask me, is that show realistic? The Hollywood stuff is beyond realistic, and the way men speak to each other was beyond realistic. But that people, guys at 30 plus give a shit about each other that much is not that realistic. People start to have their own lives, their own problems, but it was hard to keep coming up with stuff. So part of me was relieved, but, you know, incredibly emotional, because we had such a group, as you can see, that I'm still here with these guys today. Great friends, family, and, you know, we all knew it'll probably never be like this again, because every day was a party on that show. And I don't mean like drugs and crazy stuff. It was just like, fun. It was never work except the writer's room. Yeah. Everything on set was always just like, this is fun, this is a joy, and whatever.